Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. Sioux Falls police are still looking for a missing 13-year-old from the city. Police say that Wendy Marcia Alvarado left her home near 6th Street and Grange Avenue. She's 5'2", wearing black jeans and a green shirt. If you know where she is or have any information on her whereabouts, police ask that you give them a call. Avian flu killed over 23,000 wild birds last year in South Dakota. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, avian flu has not been reported in domestic flocks or wild birds since mid-April, but it took a toll on birds in 2022 in South Dakota. The Game Fish and Parks Department estimated that avian flu killed a little over 23,000 wild birds in the state, but that number looks low, with 23,300 wild birds suspected of dying. An avian flu case was last reported in a turkey flock in Beadle County this year. Midwest Honor Flight is preparing for its 14th mission to Washington since 2017, and it wouldn't be possible without volunteers. Hundreds of people packed into the Military Heritage Alliance in Sioux Falls over the weekend for Guardian and crew training. Tammy Brown is traveling as a Guardian for her uncle, who served in Vietnam.
They have thought of everything to help the veterans be safe, be comfortable, also allowing time for them to kind of process the emotions that day may bring.
Mission 14 is set for May 16th. KELOLAND News will be on board that one. There's also Mission 15, which May 31st. You can hear more of this story from KELOLAND's Travis Fossing later tonight on KELOLAND News. Turning to weather, we look like we're going to be in the 60s today. Not too many chances for rain, but that'll change before too long, right, Adam?
Yeah, in the short term, though, basically it's kind of the type of weather where if you don't get outside and you don't have a reason to not get outside, that's on you.
All right.
I'm just going to say it is a beautiful day out there. A little on the windy side to the east, but still the only blemish to an otherwise perfect opportunity to get outside and enjoy some great early May weather. 54 in Watertown as we take a look to the east, but there's that wind I mentioned, north at 22 miles per hour. So yes, you do need to keep that in mind, but as long as you do, you got a good day in your hands. 58 with a view of the overpass here downtown. North wind at 21 miles per hour. We've seen stronger winds over the last couple of days, but that breeze is going to gradually back off as we head into Wednesday and even Thursday for that matter. We're near 60 as well in Spencer at 58, 54 Marshall and Ortonville, along with Watertown, as we mentioned before. Pierre, 54, along with Winter as well as Valentine. 58 in Rapid City, already getting up to 61 in Spearfish. Pretty close to that in Buffalo with 59, 56 for Aberdeen. There is that downtown camera one more time, but we do have one other thing to keep an eye on. I mentioned it was windy to the east. We have a dry air mass in place, so as a result, there are elevated fire weather concerns across eastern portions of the region. A red flag warning is in place today from Brookings County, points south along I-29, and then for the entirety of our southwestern Minnesota and northwestern Iowa viewing areas due to the fact that we have those elevated fire weather concerns in place. So please be careful with any outdoor heat sources, from something as simple as a cigarette butt to if you maybe want to do some grilling outside. If you do, I don't blame you, just be careful. Highs today in the 60s, plenty of sunshine to go around for southeastern and northeastern KELOLAND. A gorgeous day, and we don't have to worry about humidity for a while yet either. I mentioned that because if you like these temperatures, you're going to like the midweek outlook as we warm up even more, but then that's going to come at a cost. We'll talk about that coming up in your 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Adam. Australia has banned recreational vaping and tightened other aspects of e-cigarette laws. It's the nation's biggest crackdown on the tobacco industry in more than a decade as it looks to curb an alarming rise in teenage vaping. Australia has one of the toughest anti-smoking laws in the world. In 2012, it became the first country to force cigarette producers to abandon distinct, colorful branding and sell their products in uniformly drab packets. A search for two missing teens in Oklahoma is over after the sheriff's office found 7 bodies on a rural property about an hour south of Tulsa. Authorities say medical examiners are still trying to identify and confirm the remains, but they've called off the search for 14-year-old Ivy Webster and 16-year-old Brittany Brewer. The two were last seen with Jesse McFadden, whose body was also believed to be found. McFadden was a registered sex offender who was supposed to stand trial on Monday. The White House and congressional leaders are set to meet 1 week from today to discuss raising the debt limit. It will be their first face-to-face talks on the issue since February 1st, and it comes with just about 4 weeks to go until the nation defaults on its debt. Skylar Henry has details from Capitol Hill.
President Biden has invited the Democrat and Republican leaders in the House and Senate to the White House next week to discuss raising the debt limit.
Folks, we've got a lot to do.
There is a lot of work to do and precious little time to get it done. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned that by June 1st, the government will run out of money for the U.S. to pay its bills.
This is about not sending out Social Security checks, not sending out payroll for our soldiers and our servicemen and women, not sending out checks for people who work for the government. This is running out of all government money, not just spending on the debt.
Everyone agrees that defaulting on debt would be disastrous.
Debt ceiling doesn't get raised, all bets are off. We will have a recession, and it won't be a mild one.
But that's where the agreement ends.
We pay our bills, and we should do so without reckless hostage-taking from some of the mega Republicans in Congress.
We will not pass a debt ceiling that just raises it without doing something about our debt.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has agreed to meet with President Biden, but he continues to push the plan House Republicans passed last week.
The bill is passed.
The bill passed with a vote along party lines. It would include steep spending cuts, most of which target President Biden's priorities. Democrats say it's dead on arrival in the Senate.
With steep, severe, devastating cuts to things like law enforcement, veterans, families, teachers, kids, even cancer research.
Meanwhile, the markets dropped as soon as they opened, with Wall Street investors getting nervous. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Also in Washington, the Federal Reserve Board is meeting today and tomorrow to discuss raising interest rates again. The Fed is expected to hike rates 1/4 percentage point to try to slow down the economy and bring down inflation. The risk is if the economy slows down too much and we enter a recession.